Heyo, so this video is about courtesy, and I just had kind of a couple things happen today that they were very good illustrations about a lack of courtesy. But before I get into that, real quick, uh, one more person who saw Deadpool thought it was absolutely awesome. When it comes out on Blu-ray, we're gonna own it. So, go see it. Not for children. It's rated R for a reason. It earns it well. Courtesy. So today was Nevada Caucus Day. I don't exactly know what caucus originally comes from. I didn't bother to look it up. But I think it comes from an ancient Greek word meaning really messed up. Now, why does this have to do with courtesy? Well, let me tell you. So my local caucus location is about a block away from me at a school. It's literally a 3-minute walk from my house. And it was well attended. It seemed that they forgot that this is a densely populated neighborhood and that this particular school is tiny. And when I started, and there will be a picture that the picture that you see when you log in and you look at my videos before they start, that I will use the picture that I took from the corner going into the school, and just understand that it basically the line stretched out around and then out again, and then you go through line, and then you had to go through a different line. It took forever. It was supposed to start at 11, and we showed up just before 11. We were there waiting an hour. I told my boss, because I had to work today, and my wife had to work today, and we both told our bosses, look, we're going to be going to the caucus. And my wife's, as you know, my wife's a chef, and we were waiting there for over an hour when she started getting a series of texts, and her boss effectively told her, legal or not, told her either choose the job or choose to caucus, and she had to go. So I told her, just go off. So that's very discourteous of him. She told him for weeks ahead of time that she was going to be doing this, and she is being made to be responsible for all the things in the restaurant, but she's not being given the power to affect them. For example, if she needs people to work overtime, she's not given the overtime to give them, so she has to work it, or somebody else, or she has to get creative. And if it doesn't happen right, she gets yelled at. Now she's down about 20 or 30% of the people she needs for kitchen operations. She can't hire people. She can't fire people. She can't give raises. So she has no control over her population, but somehow she is responsible. She had plans. She has to give them up because her boss refuses to fix the problem other than make my wife work when she was not scheduled to. And this has caused problems before with me having to give up my weekend plans because of this bullshit. So, yes, and by the way, I am wearing a Bernie 2016 pin that I got at the caucus. So we go to the caucus, and I'm there. We don't even, it takes an hour and a half. It's supposed to start at 11. Now it's 12:30, and they're just beginning the process. And they bullshit. They bullshit around. They go, oh, well, this and this and this. And we're like, come on, people. We've been here an hour and a half. We don't want you to sit there and politely explain to us like we're a third grade class how things go. Just get it done. Just get it done. And it became like 12:38, and I went, I have to leave in 10 minutes. I have to be at work by 1 o'clock. I was originally scheduled to work at noon. I had made a deal with I was going to go to the caucus. 2 of us out of 4 total people work in this restaurant. It's a very small restaurant. We're going to be going to the Nevada caucus. It's a Saturday I work in Midtown Reno, which is a very happening place in town. It's going to be very busy. All restaurants usually are on Saturday, and we are no exception. And there was a large catering order that morning, so our one cook and our one front of the house person will work their asses off. And I knew this was going to happen, but I said, look, I'll be here by 1, and I was there like 1:03. And they were okay with it. And the guy said, look, it's going to take till 1:30. You're already there. You've already been there an hour and a half. Why'd you leave? or an hour and 45. And I said, because I made you a promise for me to be here. And I was. Um, and he said, well, you wasted your vote. I was like, well, I shouldn't have. There was a whole discussion. But basically, I had made my promise and I kept it. The Nevada Democratic Party failed to keep their end of the deal. I was told that my entire hour and 45-minute wait to caucus was of no consequence because I wouldn't stay and go through another hour's worth of work. They wanted us there for over 3 hours for something that should have taken less than half an hour because they couldn't find their ass with both hands and a map. Very discourteous. I will be, yes, before you say anything, I'll be contacting the Sanders campaign. I'll be contacting the Washoe County Democratic Party Monday and saying, dude, what the fuck? So, moving on, that was very discourteous. And courtesy is very, very important in our society. Secondly, 5 minutes before we closed, a party of 9, and we have a capacity of about 30 people in the restaurant. A party of 9 showed up 5 minutes before we closed and put in very long, complicated orders to eat there. I normally am out of the, normally it takes us about half an hour, 45 minutes to shut down. We were there an extra 45 minutes to an hour because these people stayed. You show up to a restaurant 5 minutes before they close with enough people to fill up 30% of the restaurant and then decide to eat in, you're an asshole. You're a discourteous asshole. And all 9 of these people, they may be very nice people, and 99.9% of the time, they may be very nice. In that moment, they were discourteous assholes. Now you think, oh, why courtesy? Well, last night, I'm riding my motorcycle. As you know, I own a Kawasaki Vulcan, and I ride it pretty much everywhere when I don't have our car because that's what we could afford for me. And last night, I was riding home from Sparks, and somebody started flipping me off, giving me the bird, and I don't know who they are. They were in a gray Nissan Altima. If you're out there and you recognize me on this video, say hello, tell me why the fuck you had to flip me off. And then as I pulled up alongside, because they changed lanes and they were slow and I pulled alongside them, the woman came out, started screaming. I didn't realize she was even flipping me off or yelling at me. This was post-tense. When all of a sudden, yeah, you on the bike, you douchebag motherfucker. That's what I heard. I'm wearing a helmet. I'm riding a V-twin. It's a little loud. I'm not going highway speeds, but still, I can't hear you, especially when you're 10 feet away and you're screaming over the sound of your car, the air noise, my bike, you know. And I just went, huh? And I took off because I had shit to do. Discourteous assholes. Now, why is it courtesy is important? Very simple. It used to be back in the day, everyone went armed. Okay, and if you were discourteous, you'd get gigged, stabbed, sliced, what have you, start a war. Bad things would happen because you were discourteous. And to this day, bad things happen because you're discourteous. Go to Greece, go to Italy, go anywhere in the Fertile Crescent, and there are ancient hospitality laws that are still held to for a reason. The reason is it used to be a way to keep war from happening. It used to be a way to keep people from being hurt. And that's very, very important. The basis of all of this is courtesy. In fact, I have heard from Russians, I have heard from people who've been to Russia, but I have no firsthand experience, that in Russia, because of the emphasis on people being courteous from way back, Russians don't trust you until you're drunk, until they've been drunk with you and they've seen the real you, because they expect this courtesy, they expect this mask to be in front and you to be nice. The British are renowned for their courtesy. The Canadians too. Americans, we're not so renowned for our courtesy. Hospitality, friendliness. As the old joke goes, the Mexican guy walks up to the guy from Texas and he goes, "Buenos dias, senor." And the man turns, "Well, beans and disease to you too, my good man. Give me a hug." That was not very courteous or polite, but he was very friendly and he meant well. But courtesy matters. Because when you show discourtesy, it will get you in trouble. It might get you hurt. Those 9 people, well, I was a little busy. I didn't see who they were. But if I had, I would have memorized them and been like, hey, you, schmuck, stop it. Get your ass out of here. Go. You go. You go. Out the door. Many doors. Leave. But I'm not. There's a reason I don't work front of the house operations. I may be very personal on camera, one-on-one. When it comes to groups of people, I eventually go, ugh. So that's why if me and the wife ever own a restaurant, and remember, she's a hardcore chef. Think Anthony Bourdain. Um, think Gordon Ramsay. Think anybody like that in the kitchen. She's kind of she's a hard ass. She's better front of the house than I am. She's a hard ass. I'm an asshole. Okay, I accept that my inner asshole, and I like to express. I used to tell people express your inner asshole. And by the way, in reaction to discourtesy, in the right circumstances, in the right place, in the right time, yes, it is entirely appropriate and, in fact, a genuinely good thing to embrace and then release your inner asshole. Just let it out. Let your motherfucker flag fly. Just be a dick. Because when people are discourteous, we're not allowed to stab them anymore, unfortunately. Although if that was how things went, a lot of us Aspies, we would have been stabbed, including me, a long time ago before we figured this whole social stuff out. I'd have been dead. I know a lot of Aspies that would have been dead. Friends of mine, I got a couple friends that are Aspies, and they're like, yeah, I would have been killed if we still were armed and duels were allowed. However, we are allowed to tell people, you are being schmuck, you are being putz, you are being mashugagoy, and stop it. Stop this shit and get the fuck out. So, courtesy. Learn it. Live it. Love it. It's important. It keeps people from wanting to stab you. This is also important because not everywhere is not everywhere is downtown Detroit at midnight. Not everywhere is Compton. Not everywhere is East LA. Although I hear East LA's gotten a lot nicer these days, and Compton's not so bad. Not everywhere is bad parts of Cleveland. Not everywhere is downtown Portland. Not everywhere is the Bronx. Not everywhere is the East London. Not everywhere is bad. But there are still some neighborhoods, some places where they'll shoot you for being discourteous, and they won't think anything of it, especially if you look different and talk different and have better clothes. I assume several of you should go have seen the film Rising Sun. There's a couple examples where the main characters go to a bad part of town, so on and so forth. So yes, courtesy. Again, learn it, live it, love it. Keeps you from getting stabbed, keeps you from getting yelled at. And if you spot discourtesy and you can say something, say something. Not always right. For example, very good site where customers are discourteous, and not always working, where staff are discourteous. But not always right. It's important here because discourteous assholes in line getting on the people at work, the people at their job can't go, hey, motherfucker, get the fuck out. It is our job as fellow customers to turn to the customer and go, take your dancing shoes and go. Get the fuck out. We need to watch out for discourtesy, and we need to try to keep ourselves from being discourteous. I mean, you can be the most polite, courteous guy and eloquently tell someone to go fuck themselves. I believe they call it diplomacy, telling someone to go to hell so eloquently they pack for the trip. And when you spot it, counter it. So, again, don't call people douchebag motherfuckers when they're on motorcycles. They don't know, especially when they don't know who the fuck you are. Don't walk into a restaurant 5 minutes before it closes, decide to eat in, especially with a party of 9. And don't claim you're going to start a very important political process at 11 and not actually start it till 12:50, even though people have currently been standing in line for 2 or more hours. You Washington County Democrats, we're going to have a chat. Y'all have a good day, and yeah, I hope Sanders wins because it'll be the best a Jew has done in Nevada since Meyer Lansky found Vegas. Have a good night.